You probably think you know who owns your favorite video game. But what if I told you that the company behind League of Legends, Fortnite, and Clash of Clans is secretly controlled by a Chinese surveillance giant worth more than Facebook? In February 2011, Tencent made its first massive move into the Western market by purchasing a 93% controlling stake in Riot Games, the developer of League of Legends, for approximately $400 million. By December 2015, they quieted any remaining independent voices inside the studio, buying out the final 7% of outstanding shares to take absolute 100% ownership of the world's most lucrative competitive esport, later expanding their reach with the launch of Valorant. Just months after their initial Riot purchase, in June 2012, Tencent turned its attention to Epic Games, the creators of the Unreal Engine, the software engine that powers everything from blockbusters to indie hits. For $330 million, the Chinese conglomerate secured an approximate 40% stake. When Fortnite exploded into a global cultural phenomenon years later, Tencent was already sitting on 2 seats of Epic's board of directors, directly influencing the monetization strategies of the world's most popular battle royale. Then they targeted the mobile market. In June 2016, Tencent led a massive consortium to buy an 84% controlling interest in Finland's Supercell, the studio behind Clash of Clans and Clash Royale. The price tag was a staggering $8.6 billion, valuing the mobile developer at over $10 billion, and placing the keys to millions of active smartphones directly in Tencent's hands. With these 3 deals, Tencent constructed an invisible infrastructure beneath global gaming culture. Without ever changing a logo or forcing their name onto a loading screen, a single corporate entity in Shenzhen became the silent landlord of the digital worlds, where hundreds of millions of players spend their time and money. Outside of these massive blockbusters, the pattern of ownership spreads into smaller, targeted footprints. Tencent acquired a 5% stake in Ubisoft, the publisher of Assassin's Creed. They secured another 5% in Activision Blizzard, the massive force behind Call of Duty. They added a 5% holding in Paradox Interactive, the developer of grand strategy simulations. Individually, these minority investments appear minor, almost accidental. But when viewed together, they reveal a deliberate architecture. Most players launching these completely different titles have no idea they are connected to the exact same office in Shenzhen. There are no branding changes, no public announcements on loading screens, and no overt corporate logos. Instead, a single conglomerate has laced its roots throughout the industry, transforming separate, competitive creators into interconnected nodes of a single, silent network. It is a systematic layout of holdings, ensuring that no matter what you play, Tencent owns a piece of it. To comprehend how a single entity quietly gains such massive influence over global gaming, you must look beyond the console and the monitor. This is not a mere gaming publisher. This is Tencent. Founded in 1998 by Pony Ma in the rapid growth tech hub of Shenzhen, the company began not with virtual worlds, but with a simple instant messaging tool called QQ. Over the next 2 decades, Tencent systematically expanded this basic chat platform into an all-encompassing digital empire. Its primary engine today is WeChat, a massive super app that handles everything from daily communication and news to commercial banking, medical services, food delivery, and official government transactions. With roughly 1.3 billion active users, WeChat is a utility. It is virtually impossible to live, work, or spend money in China without passing through Tencent's infrastructure. This absolute domestic dominance propelled the company's valuation past $500 billion, briefly overtaking giants like Facebook. The cash flows generated by this domestic platform funded their aggressive global expansion. While Western players only recognize individual game studios, those studios are supported by an entity that controls cloud infrastructure, fintech networks, and social platforms. Tencent is a national-scale powerhouse operating in the shadows, making it the most powerful corporate force that most Westerners have never heard of. This massive digital footprint inevitably intersects with the apparatus of the Chinese state. In early 2023, Beijing began formalizing its influence by acquiring what are known as golden shares in key internet firms. For Tencent, this meant the Cyberspace Administration of China secured a 1% stake in a domestic operating subsidiary. While financially microscopic, this legal mechanism grants the state the power to nominate board directors and veto strategic corporate decisions. Under China's 2017 National Intelligence Law, all domestic organizations must assist and cooperate with state intelligence work, creating a direct conduit between corporate databases and government agencies. For Western players, this relationship has transformed virtual battlefields into matters of national security. The Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, or CFIUS, launched investigations into Tencent's ownership of Riot Games and Epic Games, focusing on whether the personal data of millions of American gamers is vulnerable to state extraction. Technical research from Citizen Lab revealed that even international chats on Tencent's platforms are routed through Chinese servers, where content is systematically scanned to update domestic censorship algorithms. When players purchase in-game items or register accounts in these Western blockbusters, their information enters an infrastructure bound by Chinese security laws. The games themselves are altered to fit these political realities, with character designs modified and sensitive themes erased to satisfy regulators in Beijing. What began as an invisible investment strategy has evolved into a quiet, geopolitical debate, where the boundary between global entertainment and state surveillance is increasingly difficult to find. In May 2019, internal tension broke into the open at Riot Games. Over 150 employees walked out of the company's Los Angeles headquarters to protest forced arbitration clauses used to quiet workplace disputes. In Washington, Tencent's 40% stake in Epic Games, once a dry financial footnote, transformed into a political flashpoint as lawmakers scrutinized the company's influence over Fortnite's millions of young players. The Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States launched deep security reviews of both Riot and Epic, demanding to know how American player data was handled. Across the Atlantic, European regulators began monitoring Chinese tech investments, quietly preparing defensive frameworks to counter state-linked digital power. The invisible corporate network had breached the surface. Players and politicians alike faced the realization that the digital playgrounds defining a generation were tethered to a foreign superpower. This hands-off approach is the core of the playbook. By keeping the original founders in place and leaving logos untouched, Tencent avoids the immediate nationalistic backlash that typically follows foreign acquisitions. It is a quiet expansion, occurring one studio at a time, allowing them to accumulate vast cultural influence. Today, the global video game market generates more revenue than the film and music industries combined, making it the most powerful cultural export of the modern age. When entertainment ownership becomes a tool of soft power, the platforms that host our digital lives carry quiet influence across borders. It raises a chilling question. Why are the virtual spaces where millions of Western players gather quietly, shaped by an infrastructure ultimately accountable to a government that censors Winnie the Pooh? Every time a player logs into Fortnite or League of Legends, they step directly into Tencent's world. If you want to see where this invisible empire moves next, subscribe to the channel. They built this empire quietly, one studio at a time. Now, when you log into League or Fortnite, you aren't just escaping reality, you are stepping directly into Tencent's world. Subscribe for more investigative documentaries.